Well, hello and welcome to today's video, which is the first one of two. Originally going to be one big video, but it gets a little bit longer and I thought I'd just break it up into two parts. What started this particular project was I had a bit of vinyl roll flooring that had pulled away with age from two of the places near the garage door and at a transition between the hardwood and the vinyl flooring. And I have been way overdue doing this project, but because the flooring goes also into the laundry room, that's just a big job, tearing everything out and doing it all. And of course, if you're going to replace the flooring, now is a good time rather than later to paint the ceiling, change anything, fixtures, any of the stuff, shelving, freshen that stuff up, and just go from the top down. And so being a laundry room, there's just so much in there. I don't know how your laundry room looks, but mine is cram-packed full of conveniences and storage and whatnot. It's got a freezer and two appliances in there, the washer and the dryer, and it just takes a while to do that. So I was a little bit procrastinating getting this flooring fixed. And finally, for content for you people, I decided to put some floor down. Now this is on the heels of doing the upstairs where a commercial kitchen is going in. I'm waiting on cabinets and appliances, waiting on doing that sort of stuff to see kind of how the market does in investments. But in the process, I used these very bulbous looking joints at doors and at transitions to the carpet. The carpet, I don't know how I'd get around that, but anyway, they're kind of expensive, about $40 or so, $30 or $40. And for this particular Pergo color, that special order, that takes a couple days. And anyway, I did the upstairs. It turned out nice, I thought, but I don't really like all those little joints. And so I came up with something a little bit different. And that's what this first video is about how I did that. Now, I would say if you're going to try something like I did on this video, it's a little bit more advanced. It's just a little bit more difficult, particularly in the area of cutting that lip that is necessary to go under the edge, and you'll see that in the second clip after we roll the first one. Let's look at how the upstairs flooring went. And first thing is, right there at the carpet, you have to expect a transition. We got that there. Over on the edge to the fermentation room, the drying chamber, the aging room, the humidor, whatever we're going to use that for, it's multi-purpose. Put a transition there. And of course, over to the door to the office, put a transition there. Now these things are about $30, $40 a piece. And the standard way is to put one at every door. And with this particular shape of room, we have that room coming off of it. We've got that little dog leg toward the window, and then we have the office over here. It's a lot of flooring, and it's kind of difficult to get your layouts to actually lay out perfectly. So this one spot, I didn't want to put a transition or a cover strip there, whatever you want to call it. And the way I was able to do that is at that last edge, I started this room running horizontal along that wall where the proofer is, and then put a tack board in the back and backed it up so it couldn't move, and laid the flooring through the main part of the room, main part of the kitchen, the upstairs kitchen. So did that, and then after that was done, came back in, did that floor. But downstairs, where we have the problem with the roll vinyl coming up, I didn't really want to do that many transitions. I'm just not a big fan of it. It's necessary, it's standard, it is the standard of construction for putting in this type of flooring. Let's go down and see what we did there. If you like this content, please go to calldeltosell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you. Thank you. Now this is where we put the new floor down, and if you'll notice, there is a transition there at the door, and it could go actually on the other side if I wanted to, so that it's more hidden and under the door itself, which may or may not be preferable depending on your personal taste. There's one joint here, but there's not really a transition here. There's not a surface transition at the door, and there's not one here going through the door. Now the way this stuff snaps together
it really doesn't matter which piece of the flooring you put down first. They'll have a recommendation, but it really doesn't matter because the boards together have to come in at an angle and then go down, and it really doesn't matter a lot because they're relative to each other, not necessarily the floor. So you could go either which way, but to get it to come out properly so that I didn't have to put a transition, not really a transition because it's not changing floor types, I didn't have to put a joint right there, was a little bit more difficult. Also, at this area, I didn't want to have that big lumpy spot right at the door, and I'll tell you how I did that in just a second. This was the big spot. This part, at this transition, the vinyl flooring, the roll vinyl flooring, just went under a lip that I found at that edge piece. And it had pulled away through the years because it was not sufficiently nailed down or stapled down. It was only stapled a few places, and of course, the vinyl tightens up with age, and it just pulled out, and there was an ugly spot there. I'll show you a picture here in just a second. Now, as we go over to this door, I actually took the threshold at the bottom apart, took that white strip off, which actually was oak stained, took it off, had cut a undercut so that we actually get the flooring go up against that threshold, and then put that strip back down after having painted it, and it's just tacked in with some 18 gauge little tacks. So we have that one. We're able to get through here. I actually cut an edge on the raw edges of the pieces to go under that little lip that was pre-existing in that floor. Now the kind of red color looks a little bit brighter red in the cell phone as it's photographing than it does in real life. It may not be the best colors, but that's straight hardwood, tongue and groove, actual oak. And that can be refinished in the future, just not now. That is just a factory set right there. Now, when I started this, I had to do a little bit of planning. At these joints, you see these joints? They look pretty perfect to me. Of course, I'm prejudiced. I wanted to get a good overlap. It needs a certain amount of overlap at the joints when you lap them, but I don't want to waste too much material. So every other one of these strips of flooring is full length. The other ones are cut short and then trim. I'll put a picture up right here and show you I actually had to square up, cut it off, and then use a Dremel router to cut a little bit of edge to get under that joint right there. Now when we come to this joint at the door, of course, we had to undercut the door, and you do that with a oscillating saw. But if you'll notice, right at that center strip, there's a joint there, and we have a joint at that center strip because unless you want to have just a huge undercut, you don't have the flexibility to get the two pieces, the grooves, to snap together. So we have two long ones and then three short ones, and I had to plan for the dimension to come right across that door. But by doing that, I was able to save one of these little shape things. And again, they're not bad. They're about 30, 40 bucks. I think 40 bucks and you can get two doors out of it at the length they are. But I just really didn't want to have to step over a lump right there. So this is how I turned this out. I don't know what your opinion is. Please comment and tell me what you think about that.
So what do you think? I hope I haven't taken up too much of your time, but what do you think? On the upstairs, because it's such a large area and at each one of those three doors, it just was easier to use the transition molding. They're actually a joint or whatever, but they do work for carpeting, tile, whatever, different heights, different layers of stuff. They're not that expensive. They are fairly expensive overall because they are 40 bucks or so a piece, and you can get two doors out of them, but they're special ordered in this particular color. So what do you think? Do you like the upstairs with the little humps in them, or do you prefer the humpless or the smooth flooring around the doors? The smooth flooring around the doors is a bit advanced for most people because you do have to have a little bit of tools, and to do that edge, cut that raw edge to go under the lip that was existing in the hardwood flooring where the vinyl was, that to cut that little piece of a lip was a little bit of an effort to do that. So it's not a basic thing, but it gives you an idea if you're a little bit more handy than just starting out. But if you're just starting out, what do you think? Just leave a comment. Appreciate you.